What's up everyone, my name is John, you're watching ARTV, and it's time to bring something back. It's called Review Orgy, and I haven't done it in at least a couple of years now, at least on this channel. I think I did a couple of track review orgies on Beyond ARTV, but let me explain. Review Orgy is basically exactly what you would guess from the title. It's where I take care of multiple album reviews, all in one video. Today I'll be covering 3 different albums: Ryn Weaver's album The Fool, Zella Day's Kicker, and Third Eye Blind's Dopamine. Starting off with Ryn Weaver, she's an alternative pop artist, I suppose, if you had to classify her with a specific genre, but there are a lot of different influences that make up her different styles and musical influences. Take maybe Florence and the Machine meets Foxes meets Ellie Goulding with a little bit more spunk and adventure, and you've got her in a nutshell. After my first listen to her album, I noticed a few different things. It's made up of a lot of different styles, but it manages to work in a certain order. It's like the first third of the record works in a certain way, and then the latter 2/3 just kind of follow after, and the latter third of those being a culmination of slower songs and that sort of thing, and the first third kind of getting the odd experimentation out of the way. And I'm not slamming this by any means. I think it's really neat how it kind of all falls together. Weaver's voice is smooth and almost irresistible, and this girl is kind of an oddball, and I like that. Why is this 22-year-old singer a viral sensation? What makes her special? What makes her stand out from all of the other thousands of singers who are trying to break through to the mainstream? Well, first of all, it takes talent, and second of all, it takes people noticing you and I guess knowing the right people. I actually found out about Ryn Weaver from a tweet from Hayley Williams of Paramore, and apparently she was not the only star to tweet out Octahate, the single that kind of broke through, and it's a very weird track, but we'll talk more about that later. I think it's got a lot of cool aspects to it. Fast forward a year and we've got a collection of songs from Weaver that seem very befitting of her personality, or at least what I know of it. If you find the opening track, Runaway, a bit uneven or eerie, definitely give it a few listens. There's a lot more going on here than what meets the eye, as an underlying anger lines this track, with Weaver quite literally almost biting her tongue to keep herself from going any further. The pounding drums, the wayward synths, and the manic vocal harmonies really just make for a hell of a listen, and one of the best moments on this LP. Like I said, I kind of see this album as being split into sections, and not that it strictly follows that, but that first kind of third being a little bit more theatric in its nature, and that latter third just being a more traditional, almost more grounded style, if you will. I find that moments like the beautiful Traveling song speak of the beauty that she sees in the world, and she kind of stays on topic for the songs that follow after that with Here Is Home and New Constellations. Weaver still seems like she's in a place where she sees beauty and kind of questions the things around her, like what makes this, and like why is this the way it is, and I think that that's a wonderful quality to have. As much as I may enjoy her character traits that bleed into her music, it doesn't mean that every single song on The Fool is all that interesting. Before I tackle some of those tracks that I don't find as interesting, there's not that spark there that a lot of these songs do, I want to briefly highlight a few of the standout tracks that I'm really enjoying. The title track is fantastic, with Weaver's vocals just sounding fucking phenomenal here. The hook on this thing is golden, and the instrumentation is lush. How about the finale on this thing? I mean, it explodes like a firecracker, with the synths and the vocal distortions sounding like they're ready to go head to head with a Calvin Harris track, and not in a distasteful way. She actually proves time and time again here on this record that she can take those dance and electronic leaning aspects, tinge her songs with those things, and not have them be in poor taste. They actually just feel a little bit more creative and adventurous to me. The Fool leads perfectly into another favorite of mine, Promises. While it might not be that risky lyrically, I suppose, but man, I can't really argue with the fact that this song is just good musically. Everything about this track reels me in. Not to say that what she has to say isn't important on this track, it's just that this track falls into a groove. I mean, talk about losing yourself in a song, this is a perfect example. Of course, you can't go wrong with the inventive hit Octahate or the wide open Free, which really just explores the adventure that's certainly found in this girl's heart in the best way possible. Things do go downhill a little bit after that song, unfortunately, with the latter 3 tracks on this record not being a total loss, but just not capturing my attention the way a lot of this record did. Traveling song has a beautiful spoken word outro on it, and I really do like the lyrics on that one. It's just that the song as itself, the instrumentation doesn't really stand out from all of the other singer-songwriters that I seem to hear this day and age. I mean, I get infiltrated with so many different songs that it just kind of blends together. I have a similar problem on the track New Constellations. I really do like the lyrical content. I thought it was pretty well said and well thought out on that track, but the music surrounding that is just what falls into generic territory for me. Moments like the predictable love story Pierre and the poorly produced Stay Low don't really captivate me, but I've got to say at the end of the day I'm not complaining all that much because Ryn Weaver's The Fool definitely has some future listens left in it. It should be worth your time to check out. I hope you like it as much as I did. The Fool is getting a solid 4 out of 5 from me. Now let's jump on to another lovely lady in the world of alternative music, Zella. I caught on that this girl was something special at the end of 2014 whenever I heard her fantastic breakout single Hypnotic for the first time. The song is just truly mesmerizing, but I suppose I will save my thoughts on that for now. Zella hails from the great state of Arizona, currently 20 years old, but writing songs stronger and better than those twice her age. Seriously though, Kicker is a damn impressive full-length record, and unfortunately, not that many people know about her still. She is working her way up the ranks, but I feel like a lot of people are still just kind of seeing her slip under their radar. There's only a few speed bumps on this ride, with one track in particular kind of killing the momentum. Mustang Kids fucking sucks. But really though, not to sit here and compare this to Ryn Weaver's album that I just covered, but it seems like they're following similar career trajectories. Granted, these two singers have two totally different styles and are very easy to distinguish from each other. It's just that they both put out equally impressive debut albums around the same time of each other, and they both feature mostly good songs with a few dull ones. Day often opts for a mysterious and western-leaning persona, really befitting of someone coming from the state of Arizona. The opening track, Jerome, seems like it might not only be about a lover, but it could be about the ghost town in Arizona as well of that name. And you're probably wondering, well, how does John know anything about Jerome, Arizona without doing research? Well, little did you know that my senior year of high school, we all got to vote where we wanted to go on our senior trip. And me and my best friend Cameron, and we rounded up several other classmates to vote for this as well, we voted for Jerome, Arizona, and it was actually a possibility for a little bit because we did research on like ghost towns and that sort of thing all across the US, and we almost went to Jerome, Arizona for our senior trip. That would have been awesome. Anyways, Jerome is great. Colossal hook on this thing that'll get stuck inside of your head for days. She just really follows that song with hit after hit, style after style, which is definitely commendable. From the eerie Shadow Preachers to the energetic and danceable East of Eden, which hasn't left my head since I heard it, to the majestic and sweeping Sweet Ophelia, which has enough charm about it to put even the most stubborn of listeners under her spell, this album just takes victory after victory. The final track that I'll mention, due to the sake of time, is the unrelenting single Hypnotic, which could very well land itself in the top 10 of my favorite songs at the end of this year. The way that Day laces these lines and skillful wordplay together is really just so intricate and so perfect that I can't call this song anything but flawless. Her attitude is snarky and biting, speaking of a love that's taking over her, a high that she doesn't want to come down from. To keep things short, do yourself a favor and check out Kicker by Zella. Just skip over Mustang Kids, which is laughably bad, and the lyrics that sound like they were, well, we're not even going to get into that. Most of these songs are at the very least solid, with a good chunk of them actually featuring a staying power that's had me coming back to them all month long. Kicker by Zella gets a strong 4 out of 5. Last but not least, I want to talk about the final studio album by iconic 90s rockers Third Eye Blind. It's titled Dopamine. Third Eye Blind were one of those bands that at the turn of the century they were pretty much inescapable with hits like How It's Going to Be, Jumper, Semi-Charmed Life, and some of my favorite tracks that went unnoticed like Slow Motion off of their underrated album Blue. Originally planned as Ursa Minor, a follow-up to 2009's Ursa Major, which makes sense, it would have been a double album, the band pretty much scrapped those plans due to writer's block from the frontman Stephen Jenkins and other various reasons. It took 6 years for us to get Dopamine. Wait, that sounded weird. So we went 6 years in between albums, and the band finally announced their return and the lead single Everything Is Easy back in May. Everything Is Easy is definitely a breezy jam, perfect for this time of the year. It's a good one, but there's also a very bland side to this record as well. It's unbalanced, it features some really great moments that I really dig musically and that sort of thing, but then there's ones that seem like they should have stayed buried in this writer's book. I wasn't expecting this record to be anything close to perfect. I just had a lot of you guys really requesting for me to check it out, talk about it. I did briefly touch on it in my Breaking Benjamin Dark Before Dawn review, but I pretty much got what I expected from this record. I like some of these songs, honestly I do. The title track on this thing is pretty damn great, and I really like Rites of Passage. They experimented a little bit on this track. It had an almost dance-landing feel. They had some extra instruments on this thing, a few synthesizers flying in the background, and it still managed to be pretty successful. I just can't stop myself from feeling like a lot of this album drags its feet and makes it quite apparent that Jenkins was suffering from some sort of writer's block or some sort of lack of inspiration or creativity. One final ride, and at least worth hearing one time, I would say. Even if you decide that you don't like it, at least you gave it a try. There's a few songs that I'll hold on to, but I'm not even sure how the best of them will age because I'm always being inundated with new, more fresh, and more exciting music. Third Eye Blind, Dopamine, 3 out of 5. That was a lot of material that we just covered. I hope you guys enjoyed this edition of Review Orgy. Let me know if you would like to see more of this in the future, maybe for albums that are a little bit more independent, things that I don't always have time to get to, or else I don't have a ton to say about. Would you like to at least see brief thoughts? Let me know in the comment section down below, and please be sure to hit the like button because this one took a very long time, a lot of research, a lot of writing, and that sort of thing to do 3 albums all in one review. Thanks for watching. If there's other albums you want to see me tackle, be sure to let me know about them in the comment section. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook to stay up to date on everything that's going on, or you can click those links that are floating right there if you would like to see the last review that I did, or to see my vlog channel, see what's going on behind the scenes. Thanks for watching, and I will see you very soon right here on ARTV.